Young men are in trouble. If there's any group among us most feeling the impact of the societal disconnect that I discuss in the Mingle project, it's our young men. Scott Galloway, Prof G, the prolific podcaster, serial entrepreneur, NYU business professor, has a much-needed salve in his new book. It's titled Notes on Being a Man. He's here in just a moment. Some of the data to set this conversation up: girls graduate on time from high school at higher rates than boys, and women easily outnumber men in college enrollment. Consider this: in the spring of 2025, 58% of all undergraduate students in the U.S. were women. Boys have significantly more behavioral and developmental issues than girls. Teenage boys have fewer close friends than teenage girls. 15% of young men, this is such a sad commentary, 15% of young men say they have no friends at all, a percentage that has quintupled since 1990. Male suicides, they've risen faster than female suicides in recent decades, and at present, men commit suicide at more than 4 times the rate of women. Men's participation in the labor force, it's been going down for decades, while women's participation has steadily risen. 1 in 10 men aged 20 to 24, they're not in school and they don't have a job. That's twice as many as 1990. And this is all just a sample, a smattering. There are a lot more statistics, and Scott's got many of them in his book, and they all show a downward arc for boys and men. One other preliminary thought: don't misunderstand, it is not a zero-sum game as between men and women. To the contrary, women suffer by extension when so many men are off track. So we owe it to the women to help the men. Let's talk about how to fix it. Scott Galloway's new book is titled Notes on Being a Man, and he joins me now. Okay, Scott, here's how great I think the book is. Last night, I gave it to one of my sons, one of my 20-something sons. Not that I have 20-plus sons, but he's aged 20-something, hoping that if it comes from Prof G, he'll pay attention, because a lot of this advice he's already heard from me, but I think it'll mean more coming from you.
First off, Michael, you always set your guests up for success and you're generous, so thank you. But there's actually a phenomena, and it's a natural instinct, that when our kids get to their late teens, in order to make separation from the pack easier, they develop a hormone and an instinct where they think their parents, quite frankly, are idiots. Your sons, and that eases the exit. Your sons are more likely to listen to your friends than they are to you for a 2 or 3 year period.
Well, you're my friend, so hopefully it'll work.
Perfect.
Okay, Here's the deal. I'm on a mission. It's my Mingle project. I believe we need to reestablish common experience. You can see my copy of Notes on Being a Man because you are a Mingle guy, and I've isolated like half a dozen examples of your trajectory. This book is very autobiographical, which is why it's so much fun. And I want to run through some Mingle issues. For example, the Boy Scouts. You say the Boy Scouts saved you. How so?
I was raised by a single immigrant mother who lived and died as secretary. I went to public schools where there wasn't a lot of attention. I had assisted lunch. I actually think that big government kind of saved me. But there were just certain things I couldn't do with my mom or she didn't have time to, and I joined the Boy Scouts. Troop leader Nobler was a chemistry teacher at UCLA, and I think he figured out pretty quickly I didn't have money and figured out a way to get me pay for my Little League. You know, really generous, lovely man. Reminds me I need to try and track him down. I was around a bunch of other guys. Some of them were nice, some weren't. But learning those skills around how to navigate other guys. And the Boy Scouts didn't attract what I'll call a very hip, popular crowd when I was a Boy Scout. But I found out that there were a lot of us out there. And once a month, they used to take us camping. I developed a love, the outdoors, and I developed values. I got a merit badge in fire safety. I still can't go into a hotel without planning out my escape route in a fire. But things like knot tying, like discipline. We used to leave the campsite perfect. We used to join hands and walk through the entire campsite to make sure there was no sign of humans, teaching you respect for nature. It just being around other kids who maybe weren't as socially adept in the agency of a uniform, in meeting other 13-year-olds, it was hugely important. And unfortunately, that's an example. There's no more Boy Scouts. There's Scouts of America, and there's Girl Scouts, but you're not allowed to have single-sex Boy Scouts. And so I understand the reasoning behind it. But for the last 40 years, we have celebrated the ascent of women, and I think that's hugely important. But we don't want to recognize the real issues that young men are facing because of the unearned privilege that you and I registered.
When I read about some of the things that you associated with the Boy Scouts, I thought of my own father's lessons to me about his Korean War experience. He never got anywhere near Korea, but he saw value in kids of dissimilar backgrounds coming together, joined in common purpose, and pursuing a sole goal. And that's what I thought of, and more joining along those lines needs to take place. Also from Scott Galloway's book, Leave Your House. You should strive never to be at home, writes Prof. G. Home is for 7 hours of sleep and recharging your tech. That's it. The amount of time you spend at home is inversely correlated to your success professionally and romantically. Amplify that.
Well, there's this data. You're 38% more likely if you are in the office versus remote work. Essentially, there's a lot of layoffs going on right now at information age companies who are adopting AI. It is really easy to put you on a list of who's being laid off when you don't know the person. And also the person who promotes will have 2 or 3 people who are eligible for every promotion, but the decider will base his or her decision based on relationships. And relationships are a function of proximity. And there's just no getting around it. We're mammals. And the worst thing you can do to an orca, put it in a tank alone and see how it does. The worst thing you can do to a human is solitary confinement. Leave your dog alone, see what happened. And now they're estimating, I just saw a study yesterday saying that men 20 to 30 are spending less time outside than prison inmates. 45% of men 18 to 24 have never asked a woman out in person. And you have the most valuable companies in the world, 40% of the S&P, are trying to convince you, and especially young men who are more susceptible to this because of immature brains, that they can have a reasonable facsimile of life online. They can find their friends online. They can make money online. They can find if a reasonable facsimile of a sexual relationship with porn. And I think the result is they wake up lonely, without skills, anxious, depressed, obese. And if a man hasn't been in a relationship by the time he's 30, he hasn't cohabitated or been married, there's a 1 in 3 chance he's going to be a substance abuser. And I'm not saying that women don't need relationships, but the reality is men need them more. There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s with no romantic love. What a tragedy with cats. Guess what? She's just fine. It's men who need relationships. Men without the guardrails of friendships, mentors, and romantic relationships have much worse outcomes. Widows are happier after their husband dies. Widowers are less happy. Women live 2 to 4 years longer in a relationship. Men 4 to 7 years longer. Men need relationships more than women.
The whole book is a call to action for mingling. Do you use that word?
I don't use the word mingle. I like the word, and I love what you're doing, and I think I love that you're pushing it. And we kind of stole from you. In every one I'm going to go on a live Pivot podcast tour, and every one of them, we're doing a party afterwards, and we're inviting young people, and the only condition is they have to check their phone.
Love it.
But look, this is it. The more time you spend on this, the less money you're going to make, the fewer friends you're going to have, the less sex you're going to have in real world, the less opportunities you're going to have professionally. Victory happens off a screen. It happens off a screen. I mean, it's pretty basic. Also, these people are not on your side. They're not evil, but they have connected rage and sequestering you from every other relationship to shareholder value. So you are up against, and I'm speaking to young men, you are up against a formidable enemy whose goal is to get you to spend less time at work, less time with your friends, less time with your parents, and put you in an environment where they figure out your political leanings and your beliefs and take you to extremes, because enragement equals engagement. So just be clear, you are facing an enemy that doesn't want you to succeed. It's not that or let me put it differently, they have found a profit motive in your lack of connection with other people.
Hey, Scott, hold that next thought. We'll come back in just a moment and continue our conversation about your hit new book, Notes on Being a Man. Scott Galloway, the author.
This is Parks.
This is how you roll. This is how it goes.
This is how you pop, this is how you rock. Take a chance, do a dance, little romance. This is how you. This is how you win. This is how you excite, this is how you all night. 360 hit me, now we're going all in. I can feel it calling, the crowd, the light, the night, the sights, the vibe is right. This is how you. This is
Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.
Back now with my conversation with Prof. G, Professor Scott Galloway. The new bestseller is called Notes on Being a Man. Okay, this is my favorite part of the book. You'd never be able to guess in all that you have written what I've most ISO'd on, and I hope you appreciate all the tabs and notes and so forth, because
I do.
I've read it twice. I haven't read this book once, I've read the book twice. All right, here it is. If an ideal quality for a man is that he be acceptable at a dance and invaluable in a shipwreck, I think the shipwreck part comes easily to most men. This leaves being acceptable at a dance. One of my roles as a father is to teach my sons how to dance. All I can do is the white man's overbite. Okay, Scott? I do the Trump dance, and it has not served me well. Why is it important to know how to dance?
Well, a couple purposes. And also my sons, this is where somewhere I failed. My kids won't be in the same room when I dance. One, I think dancing is not about having rhythm. It's about showing a certain confidence that you're going to seize life. Have you been in a situation, I'm sure you have, Michael, at a vacation spot where someone gets on the table and starts dancing as if no one's watching them?
Yes.
We admire those people. Those are people who are seizing life.
Yeah,
Quite frankly, they don't give a damn what anyone else thinks. Great dancers, they don't demonstrate it. You can be a great dancer one of two ways. You can either have amazing rhythm, which most men are not born with, or you can dance as if no one's watching. And if you just look like you're having a great time, people are drawn to you. And also that type of movement is very attractive to women. It reflects confidence, and it reflects a certain, if you will, I don't know, spirit of life. Like, this guy's going to be fun to hang out with. This guy's confident. And the confidence doesn't come from being a good dancer. The confidence comes from looking at that person and thinking, Jesus Christ, he's having a good time. Not if he's a good dancer. If you're a great dancer, great. There's no mating call. Almost every species of mammal has a courtship process, and where you're demonstrating excellence, whether it's feathering or peacocking. And one way to demonstrate excellence is through movement. And to a certain extent, you can do that a lot of ways: by being a great athlete, by being by being physically fit. And it's not big muscles that excite women. It's the fact that you have discipline and can commit to something. That says, okay, this guy shows up and this guy might be a good provider and a good mate. But dancing and enjoying yourself and reflecting confidence and you're probably just going to have a nice time with a guy who loves to dance in different parts of his life. It means he's not self-conscious. It means he loves to have a good time. So yeah, learn how to dance. And you don't have to dance well. You have to dance fearlessly.
Where the hell were you 50 years ago? That's what I was thinking as I was reading that part of the book. Okay.
I was a Boy Scout.
Here's that's right. Okay, something else. I'm not a viral guy, Scott. I need you to give me viral moments. I don't have many of them. There is a viral moment for which I'm responsible floating around in the blogosphere right now because someone took me out of context when I was advocating more drinking and more sex among late teens and early 20-somethings. I was making a Mingle point. That as a parent, you don't want your kids having unprotected sex, you don't want them drinking and driving, but it's a bad sign for society when we're not drinking and when we're not having sex. And lo and behold, in your book, in the chapter on friendship, clearly the decline in alcohol consumption is positive overall, yet it also means a decline in the rites of passage and communal bonding that alcohol historically facilitated. Amen to that. Say something about it.
I jokingly say I think people need to get off their phones, young people. They need to go out, drink more, and make a series of bad decisions that might pay off. The most rewarding things in life, hands down, are really wonderful, great friendships over the long term. And then the most rewarding thing in life, the thing that gives, I think, most men a sense of purpose, is they find someone they want to commit to romantically, sexually, financially, and you decide to have kids together, and you build something together. That's the only time I've ever felt like my time here after I'm gone might have meant something. And the reality is, and I'll ask you this, for me, a lot of that early formation involved alcohol. And I'm not saying everybody needs to drink, and I'm not saying it's a prerequisite for finding a mate. I just know that my friendships and most of my romantic partnerships involved not alcohol abuse, but some level of alcohol. So if you're one of those guys that can make an approach without the benefit of alcohol, and you're confident and easygoing and smooth without the benefit of a couple beers, good luck. Congratulations. I would say to most men, assume you're not that person. And it's okay to go out and occasionally have a beer. What's more important is to establish confidence and take shots. You know, you're going to miss all the shots you don't take. But I'm a big fan. Guys our age need to drink less. That's the bottom line. Our livers can. And alcohol abuse is absolutely a real issue. It's destroyed a lot of people's lives. But 7% of teenagers are clinically addicted to drugs and alcohol, 24% to social media. So what I say to people is, I mean, I say jokingly to men, get out, drink more, make a series of approaches, watch less porn, get out, make your own bad porn.
And can I and can I just wrap up on that note? I'm not giving it all away for free. The book is phenomenal, Notes on Being a Man. But that was the final subject I wanted to get to, porn free. Because part of this shut-in world in which we're living are too many guys who are addicted to porn and not out there in a position where they're dancing and trying to have the real thing.
I think I graduated from college because there wasn't porn around. I graduated from UCLA with a 2.27 GPA, which means there was little margin for error. One of the reasons I used to go on campus every day at UCLA was I wanted to see my friends. It was a wonderful environment, but also there was a remote, but a non-zero probability I might meet someone and have a relationship with them. And I wasn't pursuing them because I thought I'd like to get lower life insurance rates when I'm 40. It's because I was horny. And if I'd had lifelike synthetic porn 24/7 on my phone and my computer, I'm not saying I would have been addicted, but I think I probably would have gone on campus less. Young men need to modulate their consumption of porn. I think it's unrealistic to tell them to not engage in porn, but just keep in mind that fire, that horniness that young men feel should be celebrated, not pathologized. Because if you channel it in the right ways, it can make you a better man. Dress better, be fit, have a plan, try to figure out a way to have a sense of humor, which sometimes doesn't mean just being funny. It means just laughing out loud. Try and be able to make eye contact. Have a kindness practice. That is the secret weapon in mating, is to demonstrate kindness and good manners. But let's stop pathologizing young people. There are 7.5 billion points of evidence that the greatest alliance in history is between men and women who decided at some point to have a physical relationship. Sex and the pursuit of it, turning you into a better man, a more impressive, decent, loving man. We need to embrace that, not pathologize it.
I can't top that. What a great way to end. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate your time. Obviously, I love your book.
Thanks so much, Michael. You're always so generous. Very much appreciate your friendship and support.
It's honest. I mean, I'm just such a fan of everything that you write and everything that you say. So I appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
Scott Galloway is the author of Notes on Being a Man. It is a phenomenal book. I gave it to one of my sons because I'm hoping that they love Scott. And I'm hoping that they'll take his advice where they have not taken mine. So concludes episode 7 of the Mingle Project. Right? Who among us need to mingle more than our young men? No one I can think of. Gang, if you've been watching me on YouTube, first, thank you for that. I hope you're enjoying the daily poll question. I hope you're enjoying the Mingle Project. I hope you're enjoying all the interviews that I do. I don't want you to miss out when I'm next live. It's simple. Click subscribe right below the video and then hit that little bell icon. When you subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll know exactly when to jump in and join the conversation. Go ahead, hit subscribe, click the bell, and I'll see you live right here on YouTube. Thank you.